Hi everyone, my name is Mason and I am one of the founding engineers at Recall. I worked on the new editor feature for quite a while now. I am very excited to be here to share with you all on the exciting things that we have in store for you.
Thank you, Mason. As you guys know, Recall has really been focused on streamlining the way you consume online content, saving, summarizing, organizing, connecting, and chatting with all your content. YouTube videos, PDFs, podcasts, TikToks. But when it came to creating your own notes, the note take itself has been pretty basic. It's had a very basic editor. And so it's not really encouraged users to use Recall to also be your personal note taker, whether that was for journaling or study notes. And so with this update, we're going to be bringing you a brand new editor with block style editing. If you guys have used Notion in the past, it's quite intuitive and it also comes with a whole bunch of formatting options, whether that's tables, LaTeX, code, quotes, to-do lists. There's a ton in there. So I'm going to hand it over to Mason to do a little bit of a demo for us.
Cool. So today I'm going to go through the new features and I would like to go through it in a use case. I was recently recommended this video called The Thinking Game, which is a documentary about deep mind. I haven't had a lot of time to watch the video because it's quite long on YouTube. So I think today will be a good opportunity to get it into Recall and then summarize it and get an overview on what it is about. I'm going to get to that video and then bring it into Recall.
I'm excited for this one. I was also recommended this documentary and I haven't gotten the chance to watch it yet.
That's great. We can find out about it together. So the first thing you'll notice is that there's no more toolbar in the editor. I have a personal preference that when I'm modifying my editor, I like to stick with the keyboard. I would like to create a summary. The way I would do it now in the new editor would be typing the slash, and then I can search for concise summary. And if I press enter, then the concise summary will be generated. This is a new component that we've introduced with the new AI actions flow as well, which is a toggle. So you can open and close it quite nicely to organize the content in your editor.
Mason, in your settings, did you have it so that summaries were not automatically generating?
Yes. Just so that I can show this.
Oh, no, that's perfect. I just wanted to make sure the watchers knew that you'd still get an automatic summary. But I think what you've just showcased is awesome because one of the biggest pain points is that usually if you wanted to switch from concise to detailed, first of all, most users have been a bit lost and then they go into chat, then they have to do it. So what you've demoed has been really powerful because it shows how quickly you can generate an AI action directly from the notebook.
Yes, 100%. So now that we have a concise summary, if I expand this, you'll be able to see this is a pretty long video, I think 2 hours long. Sometimes you just want to have an idea about all the different sections. We have introduced easier navigation capabilities, which links to all of the headings that's available in your notebook. With this, it's really easy to have a quick overview on all the sections that you have from your summary. If you click on the items in the side navigation, you can quite easily navigate to the sections as well.
It's so helpful to navigate the summaries, but also then navigate when I'm adding sections on my own notes. I feel like just the flow through the notebook is really enhanced.
You can also quite easily create a table of content as an actual section. So let's quickly search for table of contents and voila, now you have an actual table of content as the body within your notebook. So typically table of contents sits at the beginning of a document. Now there's a very easy way to restructure, rearrange the content. Every block can be dragged and dropped and reorganized by just simply picking and rearranging the order of the blocks within the editor. Aside from the concise summary and the table of contents, there are so many more features. You can find them quite easily by just pressing the slash and then open up the context menu. You can scroll through the list to find different block types or different actions to perform, or you can simply just in your editor type a specific action to delete, duplicate, or whatnot, whatever you want without ever having to leave the keyboard. For a user like me, it is a big preference and very much an efficiency gain. Personally, I'm an engineer, so I care a lot about code. We have a brand new and improved code block. I'm just going to quickly type some JavaScript because I'm familiar with it. Great. As you can see, this is just plain text at the moment. We have introduced syntax highlighting. So if you select JavaScript, It will highlight the actual code based on the language, and everything will be formatted and styled according to the syntax highlighted.
That is super
And now,
cool. I didn't know this feature before you demoed it now.
yeah, I'm very excited about is to really see how different users with their different use cases explore this tool. So another component in the notebook is the table. To create a table, you would go to the slash menu, let's search for table quick and press enter. Now you have a table. So you can highlight the columns and rows. You can paste content into here. You can also apply some background colors to the table styles. So very typical table stuff. And you can drag the tables to resize them. And of course, you can drag to reorder it just like any other blocks was in the editor.
I've been using the table quite a lot, specifically to structure my routines. And one of the things I've loved is I can indent when I'm in the table. So I can put a bulleted list in a cell. And I also love how easy it is to just duplicate.
So that is the table. And we have introduced equations as a block type, which relies on input format of LaTeX. For those of you who are academics, you're probably very familiar with that format. So let's say if I have an equation equals to MC squared, because that's what I can only think of right now. And you can create equations now in the editor.
But LaTeX formatting has been a request on the roadmap for so long. In fact, so has tables and toggle lists and tables of content. So I feel like this particular update to Recall is making many wish list items come true.
Yeah, it's honestly very exciting. This particular feature, I think, would be very relevant for students and learning purposes. Like, I think when you can take notes in class and come back and review and quiz on this, it will be a fantastic tool for that use case.
Absolutely. I remember like back in the day, like study notes was such a special thing, but they were always like scraps of paper and you'd be photocopying them. And this is a whole other level. I'm excited for the use cases this will enable, particularly for students.
100%. Great. So that's the equations. The next thing that I personally use almost on a daily is the new to-do list. I like to keep track of all the tasks I have on the daily. I keep track of the workouts I do in the gym. With the to-do list, you can quite easily create a task view, task one, and then you can also in them create a hierarchical task list. And as you go through your tasks, you can quite easily go through them by just clicking complete.
I love the to-do list, and the way I use it, which is maybe quite niche, but I take all my recipes in Recall, both the online ones and ones that I take myself. And then when I'm doing a shopping list for the week, what I love to do is go into Chat with Knowledge Base. And then I add all those recipes for the week, or my recipes if I have a big dinner. And I ask Chat to just make me a shopping list. And then I take that shopping list, add it to Notebook. And now with this great update, I turn the shopping list into a checklist. And then the best part, it goes from the web app onto my mobile, syncing immediately. And so when I'm in the shops, I've got my phone with my to-do list and I just tick it off Recall while I'm shopping.
A very interesting use case. I think I personally don't cook that much, so I have ever used the checklist for ingredients, but yeah. I can imagine why that would be really important. I would like to show you one of the main new functionalities. This toggle component is not limited to actions. So to create a toggle, search for the toggle in the slash menu. You can create a toggle quite easily, and every toggle consists of a heading and a body. So you can give it a name, and inside your content, let's say you want to actually have a table, you can very easily copy a table in here. And once you've added everything that you want, collapse it so that you can carry on with the rest of the content that you would like to add to your notebook without having to scroll and scroll.
Mason, and maybe some users are wondering, the / is what we used to use to make connections in Recall. So users who were using that shortcut may be wondering, what happened to my shortcut to make connections? So if we just walk users through, first of all, what a connection is, just as a quick recap, and then the new way of creating connections.
For sure, yeah. Connections is one of the main highlights and features for me. If you open up this concise summary, you can see there are these blue texts. These are connections, and they are essentially linked to other knowledge within your particular knowledge base that have related content to the text that is within this particular AI summary. So when you hover over these connections, you can see exactly the items that they belong to. And then when you click on them, you can navigate to those items as well. So how do you create connections with the keyboard shortcut? If you type 2 square brackets, you will be able to perform the exact reference action as in the old editor. With that, I think I have pretty much gone through all of the new functionalities in the editor. I think it's very powerful.
What I'm super excited about is the fact that now I really feel that I can take my own notes in Recall. And one of the favorite things that I love to do is combine them with my own online content that I've been saving for really powerful chat examples. So I'll go through a demo of that in a minute. I guess just as a reminder, now when you're taking your own notes in Recall, you still have all those AI features that were previously available just for your online content. So you can make summaries of your own notes. You can chat with your own notes. You can quiz yourself on your own notes. And you can, of course, connect your own notes together. A quick reminder that these editor features are not just limited to the notebook inside Recall. It's also available in the extension. So when you're on a video, you click the Recall extension, you get that automatic summary. What you'll see is that notebook is fully editable with the same powerful features that Mason has just demoed. And now over to my demo.
I'm very excited about this because it will be really interesting to see how you use it and potentially apply it to my own workflow as well.
Awesome. And so I have, if you look at my side panel and we go into fitness, I have a ton of content that I've been saving over the years. Some pro tips on longevity, on supplements, on creatine, on keto. And I've also been taking some of my own personal fitness goals down for 2026. No judgments. Hopefully this is a safe place. I've got strength goals, aesthetic goals, and endurance goals, as well as body composition. This looks like a lot, and there's so much now that I can do with the editor. So one of the first things that I'm going to do is just turn this into a toggle, like that. And then I'm going to copy out all of my content that I had in here into my toggle. And you can see it's now been toggled. Simultaneously, while I've been setting my goals, I've been doing a bit of research. And so I came across this piece of content which was focused around growing your glutes without growing your legs, maybe a problem that a lot of women might potentially face, or anyone who's looking to grow their glutes.
I think I need this as well.
I had quite a lot of editing in here, so I have all of the rules that was mentioned in this podcast. You can embed these images within your Recall card, which is super nice. So now I have a list of what do I do at high volume and high frequency, moderate volume, and what to never do. There were certain concepts that weren't familiar to me, such as hip flexion versus hip extension. So I was getting a little nerdy, a little deep into this topic. There was so much that I learned just from playing around with the editor and combining my own notes with this online content. Then I learned a lot about core exercises. And then what's really nice is that each exercise just jumps to the particular point in that exercise where that exercise is being shown. That was really cool. I also have tips, which I put in call-out blocks. I'm still building out my table because I'm still figuring out this workout a little bit. It was awesome that I could just take my table, duplicate it, and fill in my exercise, my variation. Since this was a new routine, I had my Recall app open. I was testing out the exercise, loading on weights. And then when I found what my max was for that particular exercise, I came back in here and folded in. I've got other sections for tips and training. I've got the questions that I asked with the AI chat, and it's all now in my notebook. Where I'm really excited to put Recall to the test is in now building out a bit more of advice in terms of everything I've been saving in fitness, plus my overall goals, and seeing what tips are available to me. So let's see this in action. That is now everything under my fitness tab, which you've already seen. But I also want to particularly add those personal fitness goals. And I'm just going to ask, can you give me some key advice on how to optimize my fitness to reach my 2026 goals? Let's see what we get.
I'm so curious.
So they definitely know that my priority is building a bigger glute, which is accurate. What you can see at the top is all of the things that it took into account. It's got my glute stuff in here, but it's also got a podcast on hormonal health. So it's really combined all of that information. And it's given me a couple tips. where they came to strength training volume, nutrition, and body composition. This is quite interesting. It particularly calls out 1 gram per pound of weight in terms of protein. And again, here you can see the exact source. And if I click the link, once again, it'll take me to the exact timestamp where that was mentioned. So this was a really great answer. And when you get an answer like this, you're like, I don't want to lose it. Where do I put it? And so what's great is you can now add it to Notebook. And what that's done is created a new notebook for me that I can now tag under fitness. It's got that table of contents that Mason has just shown us, so I can skip particularly just to nutrition and body composition or recovery and mobility, and it will take me to those exact points. So this is really just one of my many use cases in Recall. So what's super exciting about this is Recall went from just focusing on online content to really focusing on content you create. And by combining that, even in just this example, you can see the type of answers that you get are not from a generic AI. If I just went to ChatGPT and asked them to build me a fitness routine, it's going to be very different if it's not based on my personal goals, based on all the journals I've been taking in Recall, and then based on the content that I've specifically added that I trust. Another thing for me is what I think I'll call reflective journaling. I've been really focused on optimizing my productivity. It's just been a passion of mine over the years. And so I've started taking productivity journals in Recall. So every day, or particularly when I have a very productive day or very unproductive day, I'll head into Recall and I write down what that day felt like. How did I feel when I wake up? What supplements did I take? What did I eat? And over time, I've been able to build up a series of productivity journals, which I can then reflect on. So I then ask my journals, what were particular themes that led to more productive days versus unproductive days? So yeah, being able to interact with your own notes and reflect on them has been fascinating and really interesting.
And I think, yeah, that's such a good idea, use case, which I think I'm going to personally implement in my own workflow as well. Because a lot of times you do some things right, you do some things wrong, but over time you can forget things as well. And keeping a track of personal experiences and knowledge, the record of good things and bad things.
It could be your fitness journaling, your sleep journaling, being able to just take that down and reflect on it or aggregate it. It's quite an interesting one. Any other use cases that come to mind for you?
Yes, of course. And I think as a software engineer, it's part of the trade that we have to do continuous learning, always upskilling and always keeping up to date with highly complex concepts. And as part of that process, I think Recall now has really become a really good tool for keeping notes about all of the things that you learn, whether it's through online or textbooks. For example, if you have equations and mathematics code, you can quite easily set that up and record all of those things. Over time, you can also quiz yourself on the notes that you have been taking within any other profession that requires learning. It will be extremely relevant, especially in the educational space for students, even for teachers. You keep your lecture notes, for example, and you can potentially share it through Recall to the students that you're teaching. And now all of the students don't need to print their lecture notes.
I love that. So often we're sharing links to just content. Watch this video, watch this podcast. But when you're sharing content that you've created yourself, it doesn't mean like now you have to publish it on a blog. But for example, if I've really finessed my fitness routine and I wanted to share it with other friends, or I have recipes that I want to share that I've now taken down, I can easily just share my Recall link and they have access to my own personal notes. And if they wanted to, users can save it and chat with it and make it their own. You mentioned the quiz, and we didn't really spend a lot of time going into the quiz. I listened to this really long 4-hour-long podcast. A couple of days ago, I decided to run a Recall quiz on the podcast because I was dropping facts in dinners or in team meetings, like all these things I learned. Yeah, I was horrified to see the results of my quiz. It really kept me humble and made me rethink some of the facts I was dropping.
I guess that's the point where you can set up a schedule review. Or that next time you're dropping facts at dinner with your friends, you can be more confident.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But yeah, thank you, Mason. As much as this is an update to our editor, it enables quite a few things. One, Recall truly can become a place for all of your content. It can also be notes you've taken yourself. And as a side note, you can bulk import notes from Notion, bulk import from Obsidian, bulk import any markdown file. So that enables you to transfer things that maybe you have been collecting in many different places and bring it into one. And then the second one is that all of your notes are powered by AI. So you can chat with your notes, summarize your notes, quiz yourself, connect your notes. And the third I'll say is it's almost like you're building this personalized AI chat because you're combining online sources with your own notes and getting advice and tips that are truly tailored for you. So the update goes far beyond just an editor. It really opens up a whole new opportunity for Recall. Super excited about this. Excited to also hear what our users think, gather feedback, and of course, continuously improve alongside our users. Thank you, Mason, for taking your time to meet the users and walk us through the demo.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. I look forward to the release and I'm very excited to hear how users will use this tool. Thank you. Bye, everyone.